That's not called davening. That's not called praying. If you'll just lip service, you'll just move your lips. And all you're doing is you're saying words, but you're thinking about the stocks that you're going to invest in, the next thing the president is going to do, or the next thing that the guy that he just couldn't. This lady doesn't know how to park, or this guy, forget about the ladies. Why doesn't pick up ladies for? Men also don't know how to park. This one, he was waiting for so long in this garbage truck on the way to work, and they closed this trailer, flipped on the bridge today, and the protests and everything today on the Brooklyn Bridge. Crazy. And you're not thinking, usually what happens is you're not even thinking about it during the day. You come to daven, mincha, the whole world comes into your head all of a sudden.
What if it's part of your davening?
What?
What if it's like Hashem helps these people?
That's a different story.
They need to learn how to park. They need to learn how to drive the garbage truck.
Very good.
They need to know how to protest.
I don't know how to protest. But yeah, that fine. That's part of your davening. Good. So focus on the daven. Focus on Hashem. On asking Him. Sure. At the right time. We're talking here that all of a sudden he's busy doing business. But it's a very nice dan lakav schus. He's not just thinking about business. He's davening for his business. Absolutely.
You're praying for the right stock.
Right. You gotta pray. You got. By the way, everything.
It's all tied together.
When a person wants to develop a relationship with their Rebbe, get used to talking to him throughout the day. Right. You're walking. Help me get to where I have to go to safely. Help me be healthy. Help me. I should have lunch. We take it for granted we have lunch. That's who. Maybe you're gonna get busy with something. And you're not gonna have time to eat. Maybe that. Maybe they won't. They won't be. Maybe it's gonna be burnt. Help. You're making food, right? You're putting it into the oven. Please, Hashem, help. It should be.
Rabbi, today at work, I passed by a garbage truck. I thought he was blocking the way. As I was going up to it, I'm like, "Oh, Hashem, help me!" And the guy waved, "Come this way."
See?
And I went right around him.
And then that's called having you have the right glasses. You have the right to see that. Someone else would have said, "All right, I took care of it myself. Thank you. Next time." You understand? Like we said. Well, you gotta have the right glasses also to realize and to see. That's only lip service. There's no internal connection. There was, I think, who did they say this with? I think it was Rabbi Yisrael Badishah, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, maybe not. One of the big tzaddikim of that era. After davening, he walks over to one of his talmidim and one of his students, and he says, "No, how was it in Leipzig?" Leipzig was usually the place where everyone got together for the market. He says, "Leipzig, Rabbi, I was davening here in the minyan." No. He says, No. Leipzig, how was it in Leipzig? How was your business? What do you sell? What do you buy? He says, "Rabbi, what happened to you? You go and see now? What happened?" He said, "No, you were, your body was here, but your mind and your heart, you were busy in that 47th in the stock market, in Wall Street, whatever you were. Where are we?" Go on, the many go on and on about many different Mamor Chazal and Rishonim about the importance of how crucial Kavanah is. But this Rambam is a very big, pretty scary. It means when we daydream in davening, so we're done, finished. What do we do with that? What happens? I wasted my time, so what's the point? So Yoel in Eibeshitz was a very big tzaddik and a very wise man. He was known for his wit. Besides being a tremendous Talmud Chacham, and he was extremely witty, very sharp, very sharp. And he in his day he did a lot to save Jews from different decrees through that sharpness that was given to him by Hashem. When he was a child, they say over a story about him that he was his mother was making duck for dinner one night, and the duck had 2 feet, and he very much wanted a foot before supper. He really wanted to have it, and his mother told him, "You gotta wait." he said, but he didn't want to wait. So when his mother went out of the kitchen, he was a little boy. He went to the pot and he took the food. So, dinner time came and his mother puts out the duck, only one foot. So this is what happened to the foot. Where did the foot go? And he started thinking already and he said, listen, who said it had 2 feet? Maybe only had 1 foot. That's it. His father understood right away what happened, but he very wisely waited. After dinner, they went for a walk and they came to the pond and they see a duck standing on 1 foot. Looked like it was 1 foot. Jonas and Ibush tells his father, he says, look, see? A duck with 1 foot. I said, yeah. Clapped his hands, the duck put down both feet and ran away. He says, you see, he has 2 feet. He tells his father, you should have clapped your hands by dinner. And I don't know if this one is true or this another one I heard about him, that when he was a little boy, he came home and I am not sure that this is true, but it's a cute story. Maybe it is. He said, as we came home and started making a ruckus, he started banging and singing and dancing and jumping, and his mother told him, calm down. He says, no, we learned in Cheder, we have to be more happy and extra, everything. So you see, mother couldn't calm him down. He says, you wait till your father comes home. His father walked in, right away he stopped. His father said, what happened? He says, Mishenichnas Av, which means Chodesh Av, but could also mean as a father. We go less. We tone it down a little bit. Then that was Rabbi Yoel. Rabbi Yoel was a tremendous tzaddik. He was someone who was well versed in everything, in all parts of the Torah. And he writes like this. Prepared it before. Well, in his Sefer Yaris Dvash, he writes like this: "Edim vehevel sheyesh beichet hayetzim en pi ish veisha kol yom, ubeyichud sicha b'telet v'eis hakneses." That's when we do a sin, it creates a cloud, a partition, a blockage. They said specifically for unnecessary chatter in shul. When we come to shul and we talk about whatever, again, the shul is a house of Hashem. There's a certain decorum and there are halachas and what you're allowed to talk about. We know that there's certain behavior that a certain reverence that we need to have for this place. All the more so at a time when everyone is davening, and instead of davening, the conversation is about everything but that. That creates a tremendous blockage that the tefillah shouldn't be accepted and shouldn't go up. That they can't reach their designated destination. It really stops the tefillah. It stops the tefillah from being accepted. If a person really afterwards takes the davening, starts davening with tremendous kavanah, concentration, he pours out his heart with tears, with a little bit of a cry. There is such a thing by davening. Emotion. It's okay to cry. It's okay to shed a few tears. No one's going to think you're not a man anymore. It's not a sign of weakness. Quite the contrary. Male kol tfilas mikam shana mashasov nikbetzulah. One tefillah bekavana has the power to take all the tefillahs that a person had that maybe weren't 100%, and it opens the gates for all of them to go in as well. That's what he writes. Tremendous. Because they were hanging, they weren't able to go further. This opened up the gate for all of them. Therefore, says Rabbi Yoel, a person needs to be very careful with his davening, with his prayer. This is all we have left in Golos. There's no avoidance in the Beis Hamikdash. There's no offerings. There's no Beis Hamikdash. Therefore, how much a person needs to really think into and to stand with humility when he davens, to realize, to appreciate the awesome privilege that we have to be able to stand and pray in front of Hashem. Willingness to say the words nicely, to say the words carefully, to say, not to rush, to mean the words, to mean what we're saying. Fortunate is one who prays and who evokes emotion, tears, broken heart. There's nothing more whole than a broken heart. The most complete thing is a broken heart.
Why?
Because a broken heart means it's a sign of humility. It's not. I'm always looking for more. I'm realizing. I'm being upfront with myself. I'm realizing that I'm not full. I'm not perfect. And I realize that but I'm connected to perfection. Hashem is perfect. And I'm coming not in a place where I'm owed, rather in a place where I know that I'm not owed anything. But I'm appealing to the Racham, to the mercy of Hashem. And such a tefillah kiliyoshu reikim cannot return unanswered. V'alman niftach b'goyla u'mayogan ba'adeni eloi b'tefillah u'bakoshem b'giris lei. And if not tefillah, what else do we have to depend on? What else do we have to rely on? If not such a form of tefillah, real, true, call it prayer, from the depths and the bottom of our heart. I just want to quote one more thing that we should have some sort of understanding. I don't know, a little bit of a picture of what it means when we have kavanah. Possible I mentioned it last week, I'm not sure. It's worth it to mention it again. What kavanah is, what it does to us, what it does to the davening. And then just a few words, which also we began last week, also about what it means when a Jew davens. How precious that is to Hashem, and then we'll go into the davening itself. So Reb Chaim Vital, who was one of the closest students of the Arizal. Arizal was, we know, one of the giants in Pnimiyas HaTorah and Kabbalah, and the secrets of the Torah, the hidden meanings of the Torah. And Reb Chaim Vital was his close disciple. And one time he felt he had pain in his eyes. And he couldn't figure out what it was. I think it went on for 2 months. And he asked the Arizal, he went to the doctor, there was nothing wrong with him. Physically, everything was fine. And he asked the Arizal, what's happening? Why is he having this pain? And he says that what ended up happening was, he davened together with the Arizal. He looked at his face. He stared at his face when the Arizal was saying Shema and Kodesh Kodesh Kedusha. And by Moedim. He said those are 3 parts in davening where they have tremendous kavanah, there tremendous meanings and tremendous deeper meanings. And the Arizal said he was concentrating on that, and at that time, when a Jew really concentrates and has such tremendous kavanah, the light that radiates from him or her is so great, and the Arizal's level that Reb Chaim Vital stared at it and it hurt his eyes. We don't understand what these things mean. We really don't. But the reason I'm mentioning it is that we should realize a little bit. It's not just that we're davening, we're saying, we're concentrating. We become higher people. we radiate light, we radiate holiness, and that influences us and influences the entire world. They say about the Ger Tzedek, Avram ben Avram, Graf Potosky, Hashem Yikom Damai, who was a convert, and he became a Ger Tzedek. He's buried next to him. The Goyim said he wanted to be buried next to him. He was burnt at the stake when he was discovered by the Inquisition. But what prompted him to really, even him and his friend, to look into Judaism at all? So they walked by a Jewish house on Shabbos, Friday night. And he said, a Jew has no idea what he looks like on Shabbos. So special, so light, so, there's no words. And he saw that, and he pushed him to at least find out, and the rest is history. When we daven properly, when we really concentrate, when we really put our heart into it, what's all this kavanah? Why is it so important? Because it's focus. It's not just I'm on the way, I'm in the middle of doing something, I'm on the way to something else, and I'm just blabbering words out of my mouth. For why, I don't know. But it's taking a step back. Why is mincha? It says Eliyahu nena betfilas mincha. Right? Eliyahu Hanavi it was the time of mincha. Why? Because that's in the middle of the day. Why is that so special? Because we're smack in the middle of everything, and we put everything aside and we focus totally on Hashem. It's much harder. It's tremendous, but it's a huge thing. A concept which is maybe foreign today, but focus for more than 5 seconds or 30 seconds, for longer than the status, right? Or whatever TikTok or whatever other attention span people have. And it's not easy, especially for us. And in a certain way, we may have that's a bigger nisayon for us than it was for previous generations, but that makes it all the more valuable. Because it's harder for us to achieve that. We have to work a lot harder on concentration and on focus. But that makes it more precious. Just to close with, before we go into the next part of davening, what it means when a Yid davens. How precious it is to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ger Rebbe, one of the previous ones, I don't remember which one exactly right now, had a son who later on became also the Ger Rebbe. Ger is today one of the biggest Hasidus in Eretz Yisrael. In America we have as well. Come from Poland, a town called Gora Kotalina, I think it's called. And he had a son, the future Ger Rebbe was a little boy in Europe, still in Poland, and he was getting a little bit restless by davening, and he decided his father wasn't looking. He left before Kedusha Shabbos by Musaf, and Nusach Sfard we say Keser. Keser Yitnu Locha Hashem Elokeinu Allah, where we say Malachim and Klal Yisrael together we crown Hashem. But it applies even to Nusach Ashkenaz. We say Naritzcha v'Nakdishcha Nekadesh Shimcha Ba'olam. When we daven to Hashem, this can be a lesson for not just Kedusha, but for everything. When we stand in front of Hashem davening. After davening, the little boy gets a message, your father wants to see you in his room. He thought his father didn't know that he left. Apparently his father did know. And he calls him in, and he holds his hand up like this, as if he's holding a crown. And he starts turning the crown and like taking him into a trance, as if he really felt he was looking at a beautiful crown with beautiful jewels. Gorgeous. And he said, look how good. This jewel, this diamond, and this ruby, and this sapphire, look how it all comes together so nicely. And he's turning the crown and he's describing this beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous crown to his little boy. And he says, but look, there's one diamond missing. He says, what do we do with that? Where did that diamond? What is that? Why is that diamond missing? Because when the Yid says he was trying to as a b'derech moshel, and it's a metaphor. When a Jew praises Hashem, when a Jew prays to Hashem, when a Jew says kedusha, we put another diamond on the crown of Hashem. And when we don't, it takes away. So just like we said from Yenis and Eibeshitz, right? All the tefillahs that were blocked, when we take that one tefillah and we daven with a full heart, it opens up for everything else. So that probably is the same thing. That it puts on all the diamonds that we were missing before. But it made such an impression on this little boy, he never missed the davening again. He impressed upon him so much that we really have an effect. And that's what we have to realize. And we really have an effect. We have an effect on the world. We're important to Hashem. Hashem wants us. So we say by Kiddush, Baruch Hu wants us. He wanted us. He loves us. And He holds what we do in such high esteem. How does it go? When the Malachim want to praise Hashem, he says, wait. First let me hear from my children, and then you can go. First we say Kodesh Kodesh, and then the Malachim can say Kodesh. That's how precious we are to Him. That's how dear we are. And as the Mesilas Yesharim writes, in the Ramchal writes in the introduction to Mesilas Yesharim, we have to realize whatever we do has an influence. Whether if it's good, it makes us a better person and the world around us a better place. And the same goes the opposite. We are the top of the world. We have to realize that. It's a responsibility. It's a privilege, but a tremendous responsibility. So let's go here. Reishis Chochma Yiras Hashem. Seichel Tov L'Chol Oiseyim. Tehilosoi Oimedes Lo'ad. So officially in this many Sidurim, this is brought down to be psukim for children. This way we train the children from a young age. Yir Shamayim, Yir Shamayim, Yir Shamayim, fear of heaven, awe of Hashem. But I say this every day, and I think if we want to feel young, want to feel freshness. I'm not a kid anymore. No, everyone has that kid in himself. It's kedai to remind ourselves every single day. Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem. Before we have any wisdom, anything, the foundation, the introduction has to be awe, fear, but not in the sense that we're scared of someone who's going to come knock us out. Chas v'shalom. It's not what this is. Awe of the awesomeness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yirah Shamayim, how great and awesome Hashem is. And in a positive way, that's fear, not again in a positive way. Seichel Tov, L'Chol Oiseyim. So for whoever is involved in this Chachma, through Yira, through this fear of heaven, through the fear of Hashem, this awe of Hashem, Tehilasa Yemedes La'ad, that's how his wisdom is gonna be by him forever. He won't forget, because when someone approaches you, right, he takes a Gemara, takes a Pasuk Chumash, but he doesn't have the foundation of whose Torah am I learning? Whose wisdom is this? This is not just some study. We don't study Torah, we learn Torah. We delve into Torah. We deal with it's our life. Why? It's a living thing. Why? Because this is the word of Hashem Himself. This is Dvar Hashem. So when we approach it that way, then it's Torah. Torah is nitzches. It's eternal. It's not just some sort of study someplace. Torah Hashem is eternal, it never goes away. But in order for us to have it that way, we have to approach it the proper way. When we say Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusei Lo Olam Void, we declare that the name of Hashem should always be blessed forever, and that His reign should never stop.
Can you say it before Birkas HaTorah?
It's brought down before Birchas Torah.
So you could say
Yeah, it's a hakdam. It's an introduction to that. Because before you go to say Birchas Torah, which enables us to start learning Torah that day, this is the introduction. Another thing, and this is actually something that we say with children. We want the first words that come out of their mouth when they begin to talk should be Torah Tziva Allah. We remind ourselves. So who is this Torah from? Torah Tziva Allah Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the Torah from Har Sinai. He got it from Hashem. Moirosha Kilas Yaakov. This is something that is ours and it will never leave us. Now, here is an interesting word, Moirosha. There is Yerusha and Moirosha. Yerusha is an inheritance. Moirosha is also an inheritance, but there's a difference. Yerusha is when someone inherits an estate. He inherits something. He can do whatever. He can invest it. He can sell it. He can flip it. He can do whatever he wants with it. Moirosha, think in your head about like your great grandmother's candlesticks, or like a 100-year-old siddur that was used by a big tzaddik, or used by somebody from 100 years ago, and has in it soaked with the tefillahs and tears and heart of that person. You're not going to sell that. My wife has a ring from her that was given to her by her great grandmother, I think, which was passed down. It's been in the family, I think, for a while. You're not giving that away for nothing. That's a Moirosha. The Torah was given to us, a Moirosha. It stays the way it is. It doesn't change with the times. The times go around it. We think we have to adapt it and change it and tweak it. No tweaking necessary. It's a finished product. It stays the way it is. We stay the way we are throughout the whole, wherever the world goes, whatever direction it takes, we stay the same. We have one direction. Again, this is the foundation with which we start our day. Shema b'ni Musa Ravicha v'al titosh Torah simecha. Listen, my son, the teachings of your father, and don't forget, and don't leave on the side the teachings of your mother, which is usually there's that we get from our father direction, and there are certain things that we have from our mothers, which and how we learn to be the minhagim. We refer to the minhagim as Torah simecha, things that are not necessarily written, but things that are passed down, customs that many times hold us and keep us, and we remember them more than necessarily teachings necessarily. Right? And you go to people that survived the war, or they were in crazy situations and very difficult. What stuck with them many times? Their mother's chicken soup, the taste of their mother's cholent, the taste of the mother's cooking, the voice of their mother soothing them, their mother, which could refer really to parents in general, but that relationship of, right, preparing the clothing in the morning, your child wakes up and you have the warm clothing in the winter. Torah simecha, but this is referring to minhagim in halacha. We also refer to it as changing a minhag, changing a custom. Torah simecha. You want to switch that. Torah te umanusi. We're saying Torah should be my main occupation. Vekel shaka be'ezrasi. Hashem should help me. And then we end off with the pasuk, which is from Dvarim. Parshas V'aschanan ve'atem adveikem Hashem alekeichem, and you are glued to Hashem, your God. Chayim, you're eternally always alive and well. Kulchem, all of you. Hayom, which is referring to chiyas hanefesh, to be happy in being close to Hashem. L'shuos chakivisi Hashem, we are always waiting and awaiting the ultimate salvation of Hashem Himself. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. Looking forward to seeing you all next week.
Thank you very much.
Kol tov.